Hello everyone and welcome to the Art of Teaching Art. Today I am going to be showing you how to draw a skull. So I've got two examples here. This is just a pencil drawing of a skull. Now I've used quite exaggerated tones and added a lot of detail. This drawing took several hours to complete. And this one is done in a slightly different material. So this is actually done in charcoal pencil. And you can see that there's a lot more exaggerated dark areas, actually going as far as being black areas, and then more harsh highlights as well. So we're going to be going for something just quite simple, just a skull facing straight forward. I'm going to be working actually from an iPad today rather than printing off the image. So I've got the image here, which is one I've just found on Google. I'm going to actually edit it, so this looks quite yellow, but I'm going to change it so it's black and white because it is much easier to draw from a black and white image. So I'm going to go edit and then just change it to black and white, quite a harsh black and white, and then I'm going to go on to the different filters and actually change it to mono and then click done. So then I've got a black and white skull a lot closer to this. It's going to be a lot easier to draw from. So in terms of approaching this drawing, I'm going to sketch out the initial lines, starting with the nose and the eyes and then working around the rest, and then I'll add the detail and the shading to it. So something I'm really attempting to do with this drawing is to get the accuracy of the detail, but also add some of the extra cracks and things that you will only find kind of in a skull drawing, and also get the contrast of tones. So I want to be able to achieve these really dark areas around the nose and the eyes, and that little bit in the jawline as well. And I'm also trying to get this shape of the outer edge with the cheekbones and the chin joint as well. So I'm going to start first of all with the nose. Now what you can do if you are working on a phone or on an iPad, you don't have to print the image out, it's just as easy to draw from this, is luckily you can zoom in, so you can get a little bit more detail if you want to. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so I can see a clearer view of the nose, and definitely if you're working on a phone, that's something that you'll probably want to do to just get the detail. The danger with doing this though is you might end up drawing it a little bit too big, but in the grand scheme of things, whether you manage to get the whole thing on a page or do a slightly more zoomed in version of a skull, either way you're still developing your drawing skills and will complete a really lovely drawing at the end of it. So starting with the nose. Now if we look at the actual nose, it's a triangular shape. So you've got this section going down the middle here and then curved lines slightly, but generally it's a triangle shape, okay? So that's what I'm going to kind of base it on. So I'm going to start with the centre bit of the nose, and then I will just draw out my normal triangle. So you're thinking of something that's narrower at the base and longer at the sides, and then I can just edit it, adding in the detail. So this is a slightly curved line in the centre there, and then drawing the curved lines and any other details that I can see. So I've got the start of my nose. I can always alter the shape of that a little bit more later on. So the next bit I'm going to draw is the eyes. So I'm thinking about how the eyes relate to the nose here and the size of them as well. So if we look at the size here, the height of the nose, that is also equivalent to the height of the eye socket. So here's the height of the nose and that's the height of the eye socket. Comparing parts of this photograph with parts of the photograph, and then on my own drawing I can compare parts of my drawing to other parts of my drawing, and that helps keep it in proportion. So I've got a line coming up here which continues on, so I'm going to just sketch that line in very lightly because I'm going to be rubbing it out later. And then I'm thinking about where the eye sockets come in relation to the nose. So they come about a third down the nose, so I'm looking at this line here. So I'm just going to draw two lines coming outwards like this. And then we've got the height, which is equivalent to the height of the nose. So I can just measure my nose and then pop a line in going across here. So I've put some base lines in, and that's going to help me with my drawing. We're then thinking about the distance of eye socket from the nose here. So not far away, but it's probably about half of the top part distance. So I'm measuring it here and there, and so I can do that again here on my drawing. So I'm going to just start with sketching these out. Now this is going to be quite loosely sketched at first, you can always alter it later on. Now these eye sockets are slightly curved, but they are not a circle. I'd say they're kind of rectangular with circle edges. You need to think about the actual width of the eye socket as well. So I'm just going to compare that to the length of the nose hole as well. So it is about the same. So I'm just going to curve that round like that. You can also check the distance between the eyes. So I feel like mine's coming over a little bit too far. It will take a little bit of trial and error to just get the shapes right, as with any drawing. It's not going to be right first time, you've got to take your time with it. And yes, as you build up skills over time, things are more likely to be right first time, but actually it takes a while to build up those skills. So also have a look at the shapes of both sides, because actually they're probably not going to be exactly the same. The skull is not symmetrical, the same as your face is not symmetrical. There's a different structure either side. So I'm just going to check. So the sockets are about the same. They are on my drawing. They're also supposed to be the same as this, so let's just check. So my eyes are a little bit bigger. Okay, so I think I'm generally happy with that for now. I might alter it a bit later. So I've got these dimples that are coming in above the eye, so I will draw those in. And I want to keep this line in as well, so I'm going to just draw the base of that line kind of coming up. And then I'll rub out the sketched lines that I drew in earlier. So then I'm thinking about the rest of the structure of the face. So at the sides of each of the eyes, you've got the edge of the eye socket, so I can draw that in. And then you've got the cheekbones coming down. Now your cheekbone is level with the bottom of your nose, so I'm thinking about where that needs to come. Comes out and inwards. Moving downwards, we can move on to the teeth and jaw. So here we've got the nose is equivalent to the top kind of lip to the bottom of the teeth. So I can measure that again down to here. So this here is where the bottom of my teeth are. So the teeth probably come about halfway here. So that's going to then help me to draw in the rest of the details. Now if you don't want to try and do the whole skull, you can choose a section of the skull to do if you wanted to. Right, and then we're also thinking about the chin. So the chin is approximately the height of the nose as well. So it comes here. I will start to draw in the teeth. So we're looking at each individual tooth. I'm going to start with the front teeth, and then I will build up to the back teeth. If they don't all fit in, they don't all fit in. It's just one of those things. I could kind of space them all out, but you can see that these aren't evenly spaced, so it'd be quite tricky to do it in another way, but other than just draw them out. So thinking about where the teeth end as well. And their shape, are they triangular, are they square? Really paying attention to details, really important when you're drawing. And then we've got the teeth in. So the last thing to do is, you've got these little bits that are coming down here, kind of the base of the skull. So I'm going to get those in place. And then do the top of the skull as well. So comes out in a lump just above the cheekbone and then circles up. Now, when we're thinking about the forehead, we can use a measurement. So I think it's probably about as big as the nostril and the eyes. Yeah. So mine's going to end up going off the page. So just draw it kind of coming up and round like this. That is the actual skull sketched out first of all, and now we can start to add a bit more detail and shading and things. So I'm going to start with the eyes and the nose. So I'll just start with this eye here. So here we've got a dark area at the bottom, there's a really dark area here, and then we've got dark around the socket, but it blends inwards. So that's all we need to do. I'm actually going to swap and be using a 2B pencil for this, just because it's going to allow me to get those darker tones. If you have only got access to a HB pencil, then you still will be able to get the range of tones, but it would work out better if you had a 2B pencil. So I'm going to start with the edge. So I'm shading nice and evenly. I'm going in one direction. In this case, I'm going to go round. So it means I might have to rotate my sketchbook a little bit. And I'm going to draw in this shape that we've got here first of all. And then this shape here. And the shape here. And then the shape coming in across here. So I've got the basic kind of shadows, and then I just need to shade them. So what I want to do now is smooth out this. What you'll find is if you use a 2B or a 4B pencil, the graphite stays on the surface of the paper a lot more. So I then go over it with a HB pencil to just smooth and shine it, and that just makes it a little bit more even. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm literally just shading over it, and that blends it in a little bit more. So we've got the first eye, and then we can move across to the second eye. So this one is slightly less shadowy. You've got the shadow at the bottom here and this bit here, but there's a lot less shadow at the top of the eye. So I'm going to draw that shadow in first of all. And then we're just going to do a light kind of shade at the top. And just follow that round. So I want to do a slightly lighter tone with the 2B pencil, so I'm just using strokes all in one direction. This allows me to press more lightly onto the page. You need to just go careful where those match though, because overlaps could create darker areas. Okay, so we've got the two eye holes done. We're going to move down to the nose now. So just the same as with the eyes, you're noticing the darker areas and then you're adding in the lighter areas. Okay, so we've got the nose and the eyes as well now. I'm going to have to lean on a scrap piece of paper because otherwise I'm going to start to smudge all of these areas. We're going to move down to the teeth and jaw now. Now, really, I would recommend starting kind of at the top area and working down, but I'm trying to show you the key areas before I then add the final details. When we're looking at the jaw, exactly the same again. We're looking at the dark areas, such as these parts here, and then you're shading each of the teeth. Now, on the whole, the teeth will be a lot lighter, so we're making sure they are lighter, but they have got shadows around them, so we are adding those things in as well. So I've shaded the main details, the eyes, the nose, and then the teeth, and now I'm going to kind of shade the rest of it. When we're shading the rest, we're looking for smooth shading, so in one direction, using the side of the pencil. You can see it's darker at the top and shading downwards. You can see the areas of light. Now, any of these areas which are just a little bit lighter, I'm actually going to leave white. That's going to help me to have a greater level of contrast in my drawing. That's always something that's important to remember. When you're drawing, try to make the dark areas darker, the light areas lighter, because that's going to help you with the overall kind of realistic look. So I'm going to start at the top and then just work my way down, and then I will go back in and add some of these extra details so you can see the little bits of shadow and creases on the lips and things like that as well. basic shading of the skull is now done, and what I would do now to just push it to that higher level is then go through and add in any additional detail. So probably use the HB to shine and polish areas, and then go in with the 4B pencil, add much darker areas, and also any of these fine little details. So I'm sharpening and neatening edges, making sure my edge is really nice and crisp, and then using the HB pencil to just polish the edges and make sure that I've got this change in tone here. And we are done. So there is my finished skull drawing. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.